Okay, just think about this for a second. How do you power a nation of 1.4 times billion people with clean, reliable energy? I mean, it's one of the biggest challenges of our time, right? Well, India has just passed a really bold new law that could completely transform its energy future. Yeah, that's the massive question at the heart of what we're talking about today. How do you provide clean, consistent, and affordable power for a country with the world's largest population? And this isn't just some academic puzzle. We're talking about real-world economic development, public health, and of course, climate change. I mean, look at this. Powering countless cities, towns, and industries, it takes a staggering amount of energy. But it's not just about how much energy you have, it's also about the quality. India needs a power source that's reliable 24/7 and clean. And that's exactly why a whole new vision was needed. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at India's energy crossroads to see why this change was so necessary. Then, we'll dive right into the Shanti Bill, what it is, how it works, and its huge 100 gigawatt goal. And finally, we'll connect it all back to why this matters to you. Okay, so let's start with a bit of context. To really get why this new law is such a big deal, we have to understand the challenges India has been facing with its nuclear energy sector. The country really found itself at a critical crossroads. It needed a totally new path forward. So here's the deal. For decades, since way back in 1962, India's nuclear sector was pretty much entirely run by the government. Now, this state-controlled system was great for safety, but it was also, well, slow-moving and bureaucratic. This created some major hurdles that really discouraged the private and foreign investment needed to grow. The new bill, it fundamentally changes all of that, shifting the model from restrictive to collaborative. And that, right there, brings us to the solution, the Shanti Bill. This is the new framework designed to just smash through those old barriers and modernize India's whole approach to civil nuclear energy. Okay, so its full name is, get ready for this, the Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India Bill. It's a mouthful, I know, but that name really captures the bill's huge ambition to sustainably develop nuclear power to literally transform the country. At its core, it's a law designed to bring India's energy sector into the 21st century. And let's be clear, this isn't just some proposal or a plan on paper. The Shanti Bill has been passed by both houses of the Indian Parliament, and it's been officially signed into law. This is the new reality for India's energy landscape. And you know what? The changes are already starting. This quote really sums up the core idea perfectly. It's all about creating a partnership. Private companies can now bring in their money and their expertise to build and run the plants, while the government keeps a firm grip on the most critical areas, especially safety. It's all about finding that balance between innovation and oversight. Okay, so we know what the Shanti Bill is. Now let's break down how it actually works. What are the key changes under the hood that are going to drive this transformation? All right, the biggest change, and this is a real game changer, is opening the door to the private sector. For the very first time, private companies can get directly involved in building, operating, and supplying equipment for nuclear power plants. But, and this is important, the government keeps a firm grip on the really sensitive stuff, like handling nuclear fuel and storing radioactive waste. So what this new model does is forge a true partnership. It's all about combining the efficiency and innovation of the private sector with the government's decades of experience in making sure nuclear tech is safe and secure. The best of both worlds, really. The second key change tackles safety and liability, and this was a huge barrier to investment in the past. Now, the strict safety rules are still there, for sure. The Atomic Energy Regulatory Board is still overseeing everything, but the liability laws got a major update. Before, suppliers could get blamed for accidents even if it wasn't their fault, which, as you can imagine, scared away a lot of investors. Now, a supplier's responsibility is clearly laid out in contracts. That gives companies the confidence they need to actually invest. So, with these new rules in place to bring in money while keeping things safe, what's the end game here? What's the ultimate goal? Well, that brings us to the bill's incredibly ambitious vision for the year 2047. Right, so what's the big goal? What is all this work, this huge new law, actually aiming to achieve? 100 gigawatts. Now, to put that number in perspective, that is more than 14 times India's current nuclear capacity. Let that sink in for a moment. It's just a massive transformational amount of clean energy. We're talking enough to power tens of millions of homes. Yup, the goal is to dramatically scale up India's nuclear power capacity to that 100 gigawatt mark by 2047. And this isn't just about building a few new reactors here and there. No, this is about making nuclear power a cornerstone of the country's clean energy future and a key weapon in the fight against climate change. Okay, I get it. 100 gigawatts, new liability laws, it can all feel a bit abstract, right? So let's bring this down to earth and talk about why this policy actually matters in our everyday lives. Because at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. It's about providing the clean, reliable, 24/7 electricity that powers our modern world. It's about keeping the lights on at home, running the life-saving equipment in hospitals, and fueling the industries that drive the economy. And the impact of this bill could be huge. We're talking more clean electricity, which means cleaner air in the cities and less pressure on fossil fuels. It also means creating a wave of new, high-skilled jobs in science and engineering, which helps drive innovation across the entire Indian economy. And this isn't going unnoticed at the top. Prime Minister Modi himself called the bill a transformational step, which really signals the government's commitment to making India a world leader in clean nuclear energy. So, when you put it all together, the SHANTI bill is way more than just a piece of legislation. It's really a roadmap for a whole new era of energy in India, one that's designed to be cleaner, more secure, and powered by some seriously cutting-edge technology. But of course, the journey is really just beginning. The framework is in place, the goal is set, and the partnerships are starting to form. The big question that remains is this: can India actually navigate all the complex challenges that come with such an ambitious plan and truly transform its energy future? Well, one thing's for sure, the world will be watching.